Hi, Kia listeners. Let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to join me X and Insta and also YouTube, where this podcast is restreamed in audio, the odd video episode. Yes, I know I haven't done the one I promised. I'll get there eventually. It is in work. Look, it's an interesting basho. We are at day 10. There are kimboshi flying around like lollies at a children's birthday party. The retirement plans of a few wrestlers are being padded out by all help of our yokozuna. We have a sole leader for the second day in a row. Our former public servant from Hokkaido, who came to sumo a little bit later in life, Ichi Yamamoto. Remember, he is a solid Wakataka Kage fan. He's also a fairly bright and sunny personality. Always good to watch him on a TV show or interviews. Megashira 8 West Ichi, he has only had a single loss so far against Hirodumi on day 5. Day 9, he had the brawler, Gonayama, who he pulled down after a pretty fast touchy-eye and a disengage. Hiki Itoshi pull-down win. That was his 8th win and the first Kachikoshi for the new IG Stadium in Nagoya. Tonight, day 10, however, he faced Meisei, and he stayed true to his process and his form. Heavy touchy-eye by Meisei. Ichi Yamamoto defended it. Ichi starts thrusting at Meisei, pushed him to the bales, finished him off with a big Nodowa to the neck. Meisei went off into the alley. Look, that was a good, solid win as Ichi, he looked so serious on the dojo, but you get him off the dojo and in the interview, like I said, he's happy and chatty, quite the character. Look, I hope he does well here. He'll face the might of the Sanyaku shortly, as in May this year, he got absolutely towed up by all of the Sanyaku. Didn't win a match there, but March was better for him. He did get a kimboshi off Hoshoryu in March and a win over Ozeki Kodazakura. Hopefully, better luck this time to push through. Onosato Yokozuna faced Takayasu on day 9. Look, it was a powerful Yokozuna win as he drove Takayasu to the bales and over fairly easily. Day 10, however, Yokozuna Onosato, he faced the veteran Tamawashi, who's 40 years of age, true experience, most amazing consecutive fight record. He must be well over 1,650 consecutive bouts so far. Onosato, he went really hard at the touchy-eye. Tamawashi didn't really retreat much, didn't go back far. Onosato tried to drive him to the bales, but Tamawashi defended, moved to his left and escaped Onosato. As he does, Onosato was a bit too committed. Tamawashi slipped a bit sideways at the bales, got a hand on Onosato's body, pulled him across and threw him down at the bales. Very ungracefully, the Yokozuna went flying into the alleyway. The cushions, the Zabuton cushions, they flew in the stadium yet again. Tamawashi joins the chasing pack at 8 wins. Kodazakura, he's making a hard go of it yet again. Day 9, he faced Kimbozan. Suffered a fairly quick Iorikiri defeat as he let Kimbozan get inside and go for the drive-out win there. Day 10, Kodazakura and Wakataka Kage faced off tonight. It's a top-class, full-experience sumo bout for me. Both explored each other's weaknesses throughout this match. It was a long affair, both on the belt, both testing each other. It was very patient sumo. Wakataka Kage was trying to find himself an opportunity. He did try multiple attempts to get a Yorikiri drive going, only to be held firm by the Ozeki Kodazakura. However, look, in the end, patience, persistence, and perhaps a little bit of fitness and stamina worked in Wakataka Kage's favour as he got a drive going, forced Kodazakura back and over the bales. Look, it wasn't a flashy win, but it was excellent sumo, showing patience, technique, and like I said, a bit of stamina. Day 9 had Wakataka Kage had Hirodumi. He had to work hard to keep Hirodumi under control. He blasted out of the touchy-eye, didn't let Hirodumi into the game at all. Yorikiri win there. So day 10 has 6 wins for Wakataka Kage. Kodazakura still stuck on 5 wins for him. Moving on. Wakatakage's brother, Wakamoto Haru, unfortunately, he didn't show the same patience on day 10 and he paid the price. Changing grips mid-fight, under pressure from Onakatsu against the bales. Look, that was fraught with danger. Onakatsu dispatched the former Sekiwake. Day 9, Wakamoto Haru faced Aonishiki, the Ukrainian sensation. Wakamoto Haru tried hard to keep Aonishiki off the belt as far as possible he could into the match, but in the end, Aonishiki got a hand inside and on the belt where he pulled a twisting belt pull down, which saw Wakamoto Haru on his bum at the bales. Shitate Hineri underarm twisting belt pull down is the Kimarite. Look, it's a disastrous tournament for Wakamoto Haru at 2 and 8. Aonishiki kept himself in the chasing pack, and he got an easy win over Kimbozan on day 10. Meet and pull down saw Kimbozan go down on his hands fast after the tachiai. Hiki Itoshi, 8 wins for Aonishiki. He's in that pack. Sekiwake Kirishima, he stays in the chasing pack as well, despite a loss to Hakuoho on day 9. 3 matas, count them, by Hakuoho as Kirishima kind of played a little bit of a game, made him wait a bit at the tachiai. Anyway, Kirishima tried to pull Hakuoho down at the tachiai. Bit of a mistake, I think. I don't think he ever really recovered from this. He tried to pull on Hakuoho's arm, but in the end, Hakuoho kept up the pressure, chased Kirishima over the bales. It was just a bit too tricky by Kirishima. Not some great plans there. However, day 10 saw him face the fast-paced Hira Doumi. I would call this an experience and perhaps a bit of desperation by Kirishima to take this win tonight. An early thrust had Kirishima up against the bales and in a little bit of trouble there before he got onto Hiradoumi's belt. I think he realised he was leading himself to a bad place. Once he got the double belt grip, he got his purchase, he got control, and he took Hiradoumi over the bales for a Yori Tayashi frontal force down win. 8 wins, and he's in the chasing pack. A little bit of a lucky escape there for Kirishima. Hiradoumi, he's on 5 and 5. Look, a good match between Komusubi Takayasu and Megashira 2 Oho. After his loss to Onosatsu on day 9, Takayasu was in for a long match with Oho. Takayasu pressured Oho to the bales. He defended, went for an Oshi pushing match for a little while. They eventually locked up both belts, both of them on the belt with an in and out grip on either side. Eventually, Takayasu won the patience and strength battle, forced Oho back and over. 7 wins for Takayasu, just behind. Sneaking up behind the pack includes newcomer Kusano. Look, as I said the other night, he is a very impressive wrestler. I actually think long-term Kusano may be a better prospect than Aonishiki. That's a bit controversial, but I think he's got the balance and the sumo skills, whereas I think the Sanyaku will figure out Aonishiki come the next tournament. Takanosho dealt a blow to the debutant Kusano on day 9. Big Nodowa to Oshidashi, him for his second loss. Day 9 saw Kusano up against Ura for the first time. This was always going to be interesting. A true Ura introduction. High-paced match as Kusano harried Ura back to the bales. Ura escaped sideways. They disengaged. Ura went for a in low, tried to get a leg pick, but just couldn't get hold of the leg. Kusano then pressured Ura, ended up getting him turned around and pushed him to the bales. Ura was facing outwards. Ura tried anything at the bales to get out of Kusano's way, but Kusano ended up thrusting over the bales like a resisting toddler, trying to get into the bath. This win took Kusano to 8 wins. Also sneaking up behind is Kota Shoho. He's been going about his business at the bottom of the Bunsuke, no one really noticing. Wins over Satanumi on day 9, Churanimi on day 10. Look, they aren't as flashy, but he is piling on the wins to be in the chasing pack with Kirishima and Tamawashi. Veteran Mitakayumi, he's also in the chasing pack still. 8 wins, keeping it up. A big body win over the smaller Midori Fuji on day 9 by Yorikiri. He avoided the wily Midori Fuji and just smothered him and took him straight out. That was fairly easy by the bigger Mitakayumi. Day 10 saw him get a fairly easy matchup with Shononumi, who's languishing in Juryo at the moment. These Rikishi, they will start going up the Torakumi now, and that will give them a bit more of a challenge. Kusano and Mitakayumi, one of them will come out the loser tomorrow night on day 11. And one will come out with 9 wins. Kota Shoho, he faces Takanosho, who is on 7 wins. Kirishima will face Yokozuna Onosato. That should be quite the matchup. Kurozakura and Tamawashi will face off. Look, I would say Tamawashi's a good favourite for that. Kurozakura's he's not in bad form. His knee is on and off, but I still think Tamawashi will win that. Wakataka Kage will face the somewhat dangerous Hakuoho at the moment. Hakuoho blowing a little bit hot and cold, but should give Wakataka Kage a bit of a challenge on the belt. Ichi Yamamoto, our sole leader for the Basho, he faces the much bigger Takayasu Komusubi in a bout. He is not likely to be able to Oshi push his opponent about like he has the others. How Ichi Yamamoto goes about this will be interesting. Ayanishiki, he faces the very dangerous Arby. He'll need to be alive to the Henka. He'll need to be alive to the double Nodua. He'll need to be alive to the pull down and a host of other dangers that Arby presents. I think Ayanishiki is up to that. Ura, he faces the well-performing Fujinokawa. Fujinokawa's on 6 wins. He's having a pretty good tournament. Midori Fuji, he's also on 6 wins, chasing those last 2 for his Kachikoshi. He's up against Tobizaru's brother Hidenumi. Midori Fuji got a really good throw on Koto Eho tonight. He had to work for it. Got a bit of an across-the-hip belt throw, and that got him to 6 wins. So look, that's day 9 and 10. Ichi Yamamoto out in front. Kirishima, Tamawashi, Ayanishiki, Kuroshoho, Kusano, and Mitakayumi all chasing Ichi Yamamoto. That should whittle down at least one tomorrow with Kusano and Mitakayumi facing each other, if not 1 or 2 more. That should be a really good night of sumo. Join me again. Hakioi, let's learn sumo.